Okay, hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Staying Strong for Marriages. Great to have you. Hope all is well. Thank you guys so much for praying and for loving your spouses through these trials. You know, there's definitely things that I see every week that really encourage me a lot and make me realize that there's just a lot of people out there, um, you know, that we have similar experiences. I'll say it like that, right? And they're difficult sometimes, but people also really blow me away. You know that when we can get fired up and we can say, let's do this. This is the right thing to do. Let's not give up on our spouses. Let's believe in God. So thank you so much for that. So for the new and the old folks that have been standing for however long you've been doing it, Jeremiah 3 and Jeremiah really in general, but Jeremiah 3 is an important one, and I haven't really touched on it specifically. We've had people mention it in the comment section previously, and I'll just basically read through it. And but I would recommend digging into this book. I've been struggling through it. It's really hard. I mean, because I just feel bad for God. I just feel bad, like, man, I'm so sorry this happened to you. And it's really, maybe I'll share some more of my insights at the end of my reflections. But I've wondered, God, has it been like this for you the whole time? I mean, is this like a generation after generation after generation that you carry these emotions and this internal struggle about having to discipline and correct and punish but not wanting to? Anyways, let's jump into this. This also has some ties to Deuteronomy 24, which it'll be interesting to see what people say in the comment section. So, it starts chapter 1. If a man divorces his wife and she leaves him and marries another man, should he return to her again? Would not the land be completely defiled? What do you think? Would the land be completely defiled? But you have lived as a prostitute with many lovers. Would you now return to me, declares the Lord? Look up to the barren heights and see. Is there any place where you have not been ravished? By the roadside you sat, waiting for lovers, sat like a nomad in the desert. You have defiled the land with your prostitution and wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withheld, and no spring rains have fallen. Yet you have the brazen look of a prostitute, and you refuse to blush with shame. Have you not just called to me, my father, my friend from my youth? I mean, will you always be angry? Will your wrath really continue forever? This is how you talk. But all you can do is evil. Or it says, but you do all the evil you can. During the reign of King Josiah, the Lord said to me, have you seen what faithless Israel has done? She has gone up on every high hill and under every spreading tree and has committed adultery there. I thought that after she had done all this, she would return to me, but she did not. And her unfaithful sister Judah saw it. I gave faithless Israel her certificate of divorce and sent her away because of all her adulteries. Yet I saw that her unfaithful sister Judah had no fear. She also went out and committed adultery. Because Israel's immorality mattered so little to her, she defiled the land and committed adultery with stone and wood. In spite of all this, her unfaithful sister Judah did not return to me with all her heart, but only in pretense, declares the Lord. The Lord said to me, faithless Israel is more righteous than unfaithful Judah. Go, proclaim this message toward the north. Return, faithless Israel, declares the Lord. I will frown on you no longer, for I am merciful, declares the Lord. I will not be angry forever. Only acknowledge your guilt. You have rebelled against the Lord your God. You have scattered your favors to foreign gods under every spreading tree. You have not obeyed me, declares the Lord. Return, faithless people, declares the Lord, for I am your husband. I will choose you, one from a town and two from a clan, and bring you to Zion. Then I will give you shepherds after my own heart, who will lead you with knowledge and understanding. In those days, when your numbers have increased greatly in the land, declares the Lord, men will no longer say, the ark of the covenant of the Lord. It will never enter their minds or be remembered. It will not be missed, nor will another one be made. At that time they will call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations will gather in Jerusalem to honor the name of the Lord. They will no longer follow the stubbornness of their evil hearts. Amen. In those days, the house of Judah will join the house of Israel, and together they will come from a northern land to the land I gave your forefathers as an inheritance. I myself said, how gladly I would treat you like sons and give you a desirable land, the most beautiful inheritance of any nation. I thought you would call me father and not turn away from following me. But, like a woman unfaithful to her husband, so you have been unfaithful to me, O house of Israel, declares the Lord. A cry is heard on the barren heights, a weeping and pleading of the people of Israel, because they have perverted their ways and have forgotten the Lord their God. Return, faithless people. I will cure your backsliding. Yes, we will come to you, for you are the Lord our God. Surely the idolatrous commotion on the hills and mountains is a deception. Surely the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. From our youth, shameful gods have consumed the fruits of our fathers' labors, their flocks, their herds, their sons and daughters. It says, let us lie down in our shame. Let us disgrace. It ends, let us lie down in our shame. Let our disgrace cover us. We have sinned against the Lord our God, both we and our fathers. From our youth till this day, we have not obeyed the Lord our God. And it goes on. Of course, it goes on. This is only the 3rd chapter. But it's important to start thinking critically if you haven't already, because you'll definitely come across sooner or later people that they start, making the connection or the parallels between this section and Deuteronomy 24, and again it brings up this idea, if a man divorces his wife and she leaves him and marries another man, should she come back? That's the central question that comes up a lot, and so this is one thing that speaks to this. Now, I would say from a literary standpoint, would not the land be completely defiled? It seems rhetorical, as in, yes, of course it would be. An answer is not required. I would also challenge people. I see a lot of times people drop these very simple answers like, "Oh, we're not under the law anymore." I just challenge people to go a little bit further than that, thinking about it. If you clicked on this, you must have thought there was some value in the 3rd chapter of Jeremiah, an Old Testament book. Otherwise, why watch this, right? Why read these books if they have nothing to say to us? So, I definitely challenge people to go, one step further. Also, people, draw up that he talks. He talks as if still being her husband. And it's not just that. It says he gives her a certificate of divorce and sent her away. And there's obviously a lot of adultery. A lot of adultery, a ton of adultery. But then, a lot of people that are also going to point out chapter 3, verse 12, go up, proclaim this message to the north, return faithless Israel. So he's commanding her to come back. I will frown on you no longer, for I'm merciful. He says, I won't be angry forever. And then 14 is the big kicker that people also quote a lot. Return faithless people, declares the Lord, for I am your husband. So, anyways, and then we're always a little bit hampered by the English, but as far as I can tell, in verse 12, go proclaim this message to the north. He speaks to Israel. There's not a change of subject. He continues to speak to her. Only acknowledge your guilt. For you have rebelled against the Lord your God. There's no change of subject. It still appears that he's talking to her. You have scattered your favors to foreign gods under every spreading tree. You have not obeyed me. And then return faithless people. So some people, I guess, they may argue, oh, well, now he's talking about Judah. And why am I making this point? Well, he gave the divorce certificate to Israel. So some people might say, oh, well, now there's a change of topic in verse 14. When he says that he's their husband, who's he talking to? And, we may be able to find other references or other translations that would say maybe something like, for I am still your husband, which would be more clear than just for I am your husband, and that would kind of fix this whole problem that I'm bringing up. But definitely something to be thinking about, definitely as you go and you're confronted with these different things that people have to say, it's important to sort it out, it really, really, really is about what you think it means, and that you can, live in a way where you feel like you can stand before God unashamed. Now, these are one of the, I think, important chapters, definitely to know about. It's not, I don't know, it's not as clear as some of the other ones for me. And so I think that's one of the things is that, you kind of go, and one of the ways I've looked at it is you want to try to find the verses that are really, really clear, like things that you can, there's no doubt, it's very simple. And I've talked about that in other videos, and I've also said many times that I'm not hoping you guys follow my style of standing or do what I do. And I love to hear the comments from other people. And I'm really looking forward to the comments on this one about how people, obviously you can tell that a lot of marriage permanence people are going to say, yeah, he says that he's still her husband even after he gave her divorce papers, meaning that the divorce papers, right, you can almost see the writing on the wall coming because it's written kind of, it's easy to see the outline of thinking through this. But anyways, I don't want to get like super into the controversy of it. I just say that it's important. And beyond that, I would really, encourage you, as hard as it is, read through the rest of Jeremiah. I mean, I'm reading through it right now. It's been hard. I've been kind of in the first 11 chapters for a while now. And I just am like, man, I'm like, God, I don't want to read this. I don't want to hear about this bad time in your life. I don't want to hear about all this sin, all this awful stuff, and this adultery. And, I just, it's really hard to read, It's really, really, really hard to read, to see the conflict that he has, the internal conflict that he has about, you know, being just and disciplining them and all the pain. I mean, it's pretty terrible stuff, actually. And those are some of the things I've struggled with in the past, the degree to which these groups of people suffered during the exiles. But it's real. It's real. It's hard, but I think it's important. So, anyways, I hope you guys are doing really well, really, really well. Thank you again. Like I said, as always, just God bless you so much. Thank you for the love for your family, for your children, for the name of God that we hold, that, you still have those rings on and you're still like, I'm not done. I'm not done here. And I don't die that easy, So thank you guys so much, men and women of God, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Thanks.